Hey there, fantasy owners. Welcome to LTC Fantasy here. Not sure if you're chiming in watching via YouTube or listening via podcast, but really do appreciate the listen no matter how you're streaming the episode. Today's our midweek waiver wire episode, so we're going to look at some goaltenders, defensemen, forwards that are either on hot streaks or gaining some opportunity due to injuries, etc., to hopefully help strengthen your roster not only for this week, but future weeks as well. So basically, we'll get right into it. Some goalies this week to hopefully help you out. Antti Raanta, look at him. He's owned in 42% of Yahoo leagues. He won his last start. Anderson's still on the IR. Coach Kev, he did sign that extension, but Raanta does have more experience, should have the longer leash there. Next one is Stuart Skinner over in Edmonton, owned in 52% of Yahoo leagues. He has a 2.78 goals against average, 921 save percentage. Right now, he is outplaying Campbell and stealing some starts from him, so he could be an okay third goalie option depending how many goalies you have in your league there. Another one's Jonas Korpisalo over in Columbus. He's only owned in 11% of Yahoo leagues. He started 8 of the last 10 games there, and only 3 wins, but he does start a bunch with Merzlikins out, so it's more of a quantity over quality kind of play there, but he could be a goaltending depth option for you. And the last one's over in Buffalo. Look at Craig Anderson. He's owned in 16% of Yahoo leagues. Right now with Comrie hurt, he is kind of alternating starts with Pekka Laukinen in there. I do see Anderson having the longer leash, having a lot more experience there. Laukinen's looked good, a couple of starts, poor the outside ones in there. He's had 4 since. So I do see Anderson being a little more consistent, probably a little better option for you. Before we get into defensemen, I do want to ask you, please do subscribe to the channel as we are trying to grow it. We put out multiple episodes every week, really looking at players to hopefully help strengthen your fantasy roster and give you the edge in your leagues. There's my little plug there, so we'll get into some defensemen. We'll start her off in Anaheim. Look at Cam Fowler, owned in 15% of Yahoo leagues. Up on the top pairing, top power play unit. Man, he's been hot. 10 points the last 7 games there. 5 of those points being on the power play, 16 shots on goal. He really has been on fire the last couple of weeks, and you should get some pretty good value if you're able to add him to your roster. Another one is over in Seattle. Look at Justin Schultz. He's owned in 8% of Yahoo leagues. Plays second pairing, second power play unit, but he's currently on a 5-game point streak where he's put up 7 points, 5 blocks. He has been really hot or cold. He started out hot at the beginning of the season. He got ownership went skyrocketing. Then he went cold. So he's more of a depth option in a deeper league. But when he is on a hot streak, you're really going to like him, especially in deep leagues there. Next one's J.J. Moser over in Arizona. He's owned in 7% of Yahoo leagues. Playing second pairing, second power play unit. And he has points in 5 straight games, points in 8 of the last 9 games there. Under the radar, he's been really consistent this year. He should be a nice depth piece for you offensively. Going back to Seattle, look at Vince Dunn, owned in 38% of Yahoo leagues, plays top pairing, top power play unit, and he has 5 points in the last 6 games there, plus 8, 12 shots on goal, 12 hits, and 9 blocks. He really is a well-rounded, decent depth option for you as he contributes in every category, so you should definitely get some value for you as a depth piece. Over in Pittsburgh, look at Marcus Pettersson, playing on the top pairing there. He has 6 points the last 10 games played, so over half point per game there, 21 hits and 20 blocks. He really does have a nice hit and block total. The offense is a nice surprise. It has to be with him playing on that top pairing, getting added minutes. He's contributing a little bit more offensively. So in a deep league, he really should add some pretty good value for you. Next one's Adam Pelech for the Islanders there. He's owned in 7% of Yahoo leagues, plays in that top pairing there. He also has 6 points in his last 10 games like Pettersson, 12 hits, 13 blocks. As I mentioned, he's very similar to Pettersson, a little lighter on the hits and blocks, but gets top pairing minutes. He's chipping in offensively with that added ice time being in the top pairing, in a real deep league, he should be able to provide some nice depth value for you. Another one's over in Columbus. Look at Marcus Bjork, only owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues. Playing top pairing, top power play unit. And he has 4 points in 8 games played, so half point per game, 13 hits, 13 blocks. These are his only 8 games in the NHL. He's already up on the top power play unit, filling in for Werenski, who's injured there. So with that power play time, and as he gets acclimated to playing in North America, should provide some value. Might be a sneaky pickup. Right now he's more in a deep league, but do monitor it if you're in standard leagues, because he could quickly jump up there and be a nice depth piece even in shallower leagues or less deep leagues. Next one is Neil Pionk for Winnipeg there. Owned in 65% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on the top pairing, second power play unit. He's been pointless the last 5 games, but he put up 5 points the previous 4. So when he's hot, he gets points in bunches. If you have room on your bench, he could be a decent add, or more in a deeper league if he is available. Pretty high ownership for deep leagues there, but you could get some decent value. He's just a little bit streaky. Another one's over in Ottawa. Look at Jake Sanderson. He's owned in 47% of Yahoo leagues. Plays second pairing, second power play unit. He has 4 points the last 6 games, 18 shots on goal, 14 blocks. So he's been playing well overall. He contributes in multiple categories there if it's a broader based league, depending how your league is formatted or scored there. For a kid, he's a pretty okay depth piece. I'd try and keep him as a depth piece if you need some help on the back end there. Next one's Travis Sanheim, only owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues. Playing on the second pairing, second power play unit. He has 4 points the last 5 games. I think he got a goal in Tuesday night's game. The game's going on as I'm recording this there, so he's really picked it up offensively. 6 hits and 14 blocks. Quietly, he was a 30-point D-man last year and always gets you a decent amount of hits and blocks. Started out really slow this year, hence the 1% ownership, but he seems to be trending in the right direction offensively. In a deep league, he could be a pretty valuable addition. Next one's Alex Edler over in LA there. Owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on that second pairing. He has 4 points the last 8 games there with 17 hits and 16 blocks. Really does have nice hits and blocks numbers. He chips in offensively there. In a deep league, he'd be a pretty good depth piece. Over in Calgary, look at Noah Hannafin. He's owned in 56% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on the top pairing, second power play unit there. And he has 8 points the last 12 games with 33 shots on goal. Nice amount of shots for a D-man there. And 26 blocks. After a really slow start, which made his ownership really trend in the wrong direction, he's been pretty darn good the last month here, a little bit longer. So he should be a pretty good depth piece going forward. Now we'll move along to some forwards there. First one on the list is Robert Thomas. Listed as a center, owned in 57% of Yahoo leagues. Plays top pairing, top power play unit. He has 12 points the last 10 games. He did miss the last game, but is listed as day-to-day, so do monitor his injury status, or maybe you can stash him on IR, depending how your league works the IR. But he was really heating up before this last little blip on the radar with missing the last game. And he was really good last year, so I'd try and get him if you can there. Next one's Jeff Skinner over in Buffalo. Listed as a left winger. Owned in 44% of Yahoo leagues. Plays top line, top power play unit. And he has 7 goals, 3 assists for 10 points in the last 7 games there. With 21 shots on goal. He's been piling up a lot of goals of late. He's naturally a goal scorer there. Lots of points. There's no reason not to snag him if you can get him. Be a pretty good ad for you going forward. Next one's over in Tampa. Look at Alex Killorn. Listed as left winger, right winger. Owned in 24% of Yahoo leagues. Playing on that second line, second power play unit. And he's put up 10 points his last 7 games there with 16 shots on goal. He's really been hot of late, and he's on a deep Tampa Bay team, getting really good, fitting in really well with Stamkos and my mind went blank on the centerman there, Nick Paul. That line's really been rolling, and with that, Killorn should be a pretty good depth add for you. Next one's over in Boston. Look at David Krejci. Listed as a center, owned in 19% of Yahoo leagues. Playing on the second pairing, second power play unit. And he has 6 goals and 2 assists for 8 points in the midst of an 5-game point streak there. 11 shots on goal and 4 blocks in those 5 games. So adding in cats everywhere. He's really hot right now. So he's a really good depth piece down the middle for you. Next one is Logan Couture over in San Jose. Listed as a center, owned in 41% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on that second line, top power play unit. He's put up 12 points the last 10 games there, so over a point per game. 26 shots on goal, 20 hits, and 9 blocks. So he's really contributing in most categories there. Plus minus is going to hurt in San Jose, but outside of that, he chips in, like I said, in all cats, and offensively he's been really good of late. He's not quite going to be over a point per game for the season, but should be a pretty good value add depending how your league is formatted there. Next one, another center. Look in Philadelphia. Look at Kevin Hayes. He's owned in 24% of Yahoo leagues. Plays top line, top power play, and he has 10 points the last 9 games. Think he also got a goal tonight. Got at least a point tonight anyways. 26 shots on goal. He's been pretty steady and consistent all year offensively there. So depending how your league is formatted, could be a pretty nice depth move there. Going over to Detroit, look at David Perron. Listed as a right winger. Owned in 63% of Yahoo leagues. Plays top line, top power play unit. He has 8 points his last 7 games there. 20 shots on goal, 11 hits. So he's been pretty good offensively. He adds a nice amount of hits for a forward that provides offense anyways, if your league counts hits. So he should be a pretty decent depth piece in some formats there. Going over to Dallas, look at Tyler Seguin. Listed as center right winger, owned in 60% of Yahoo leagues. Plays second line, second power play unit. He's put up 7 points the last 7 games there, so a point per game for the vet there. 14 shots on goal, so the veteran can still produce. Maybe not at the same rate as he once did, but he's still producing. Gets you a decent amount of shots on goal. Depending how deep your league is, could be a pretty decent ad there. Next one is Nicholas Paul over in Tampa there. Listed as center left winger, owned in 24% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on that second line, second power play unit. He's put up 8 points his last 7 games played there. Plus 10 in those 7 games. So plus minus is counted. Really nice addition there. And 19 hits. Throws a body a fair bit. So he's been really good on Stamkos' line there and Killorn's line there. So you should get pretty good value in most formats. Next one is over the Islanders, Jean-Gabriel Pageau. Listed as a center, owned in 18% of Yahoo leagues. Plays third line, but is up on that top power play unit there. He's put up 7 points the last 8 games, 18 shots on goal, 20 hits, 4 blocks. So he's been pretty good recently. He is back up on that top power play unit, and with that's coming some production. He did pretty good last year, so in deeper formats, could be a nice depth piece for you. Next one is over in Calgary. Look at Adam Ruzicka. Listed as center left winger, owned in 6% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the top line, second power play unit. He's put up 8 points his last 8 games played there with 9 hits. He's been on the top line for a while now, and with that is coming production. Seems to be having some chemistry with Lindholm there. So in a deeper league, should provide some decent value. Over in Seattle, look at Andrei Burakovsky, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 40% of Yahoo leagues, playing top line, top power play unit. He's put up 11 points the last 8 games there, 20 shots on goal, 4 blocks, so not bad amount of blocks there. Offensively, he's been pretty consistent all year, so he should be a pretty safe depth add. Next one's over in Montreal. Look at Sean Monahan, listed as a center, only owned in 3% of Yahoo leagues. Plays third line, top power play unit. He's put up 8 points the last 8 games there. 23 shots on goal and 5 blocks. The change of scenery seems to really been helping him. Hasn't had an injury so far this year, knock on wood, but seems to be doing all right in a deep, deep league. Could be a nice depth piece for you. Over in Vancouver, look at Brock Besser, listed as a right winger, owned in 61% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the third line, up on that top power play unit. He has 10 points the last 10 games since coming back from injury there, 26 shots on goal, throwing the body a bit too, 11 hits in those 10 games. So he's been, as I alluded to, pretty good since coming back from injury there. If he is available in your league, should be a pretty good depth piece on the wing there. Going back to the Islanders, look at Brock Nelson, listed as a center, owned in 64% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the second line, top power play unit, and he has 5 goals and 2 assists for 7 points last 8 games there. I think he already has an assist tonight. That game's still going on. 26 shots on goal and 8 blocks. So a lot of goals of late. He's okay in most categories for a forward there. So he should be a pretty good depth piece if he's available in your league. Going to Columbus, look at Boone Jenner, listed as a center, owned in 45% of Yahoo leagues, plays top line, top power play unit, and he has 11 points the last 11 games there with 41 shots on goal. Does nothing but off the stick and on net, I guess, as soon as it touches it there. Other than plus minus, he's pretty good numbers in other categories, so he should be a pretty nice depth piece for you. Going back to Seattle, look at Jordan Eberle, listed as a right winger, owned in 8% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the second line, top power play unit. The veteran's putting up some points of late. 9 points the last 8 games there, 26 shots on goal. Nice amount of offense the last while here. So in a deep league, he should provide some depth for you at right wing. Next one over in Pittsburgh's Rickard Rakell, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 64% of Yahoo leagues, playing on that top line, back on Crosby's line, second power play unit, and he has 7 points the last 8 games there, with 20 shots on goal and 18 hits. So nice amount of shots on goal and hits there. He's been more consistent of late. He was kind of inconsistent to start the year. Obviously, nice amount of shots on goal and hits. He should be an okay depth add for you. Going to New Jersey, look at Yegor Sharangovich, listed as center left winger, only owned in 8% of Yahoo leagues. Playing on the third line right now. He's not listed on the second power play unit, but normally he's out there gets a little bit of power play time each game. He's put up 8 points the last 7 games there with 17 shots on goal. So he's been really good of late. Just with the third line minutes and not being listed on the power play is more of a real deep league kind of addition, but should provide some value for you. Next one's Adam Henrique over in Anaheim there, listed as center left winger, owned in 8% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the top line, top power play unit there, and he's put up 9 points the last 10 games there, so pretty good production. 25 shots on goal, 7 blocks, so nice amount of blocks, good amount of shots, so he's been pretty good offensively. In a deeper league, he definitely should provide some value for you. Going back to Boston, look at Jake DeBrusk, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 64% of Yahoo leagues, playing on that top line, top power play unit. And he's put up 5 points the last 5 games there with 14 shots on goal. He's been pretty good most of the year so far, so he should be a pretty okay depth piece for you. Next one is Ty Dellandrea over in Dallas, listed as center right winger, only owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues, so pretty much available everywhere. Playing on that third line there, he has 6 points the last 7 games with 15 shots on goal and 10 hits, so he's contributing in other categories. He only gets third line minutes and no power play time, but he is producing there. Seems to have really found some chemistry with Jamie Benn on that line, so in a real deep league, should provide some decent value. Next one's over in Seattle. Look at Matty Beniers, listed as a center, only owned in 27% of Yahoo leagues. Playing on the second line, second power play unit. He's put up 9 points in the midst of a 4-game point streak. Obviously not going to average over 2 points per game there. But during those 4 games, he also put up 4 hits, 2 blocks, so contributing a little bit in other cats there. He's been really hot or cold, so as expected for a rookie there. But when he's hot, he's really, really hot. So in a league where you might have a larger bench, should be a pretty good depth add. And the last one's Thomas Hertl over in San Jose. Listed as a center, owned in 59% of Yahoo leagues. Plays top line, top power play unit there. He's put up 13 points the last 11 games, 20 shots on goal, 14 hits, and 10 blocks. So he's been pretty good offensively, averaging over a point per game for quite a while here. And chips in other cats, so should be pretty good depth add no matter how your league is formatted there. That's it for today's episode. We'll be out in a bit with our Weekend Ads episode. If you did like it and you're watching via YouTube, remember to hit like, hit subscribe, remember that notification bell. If you're listening via podcast, remember to hit follow, hit that heart, hit subscribe, depending what platform you're listening to it on. And we'll talk to you soon, and good luck in your league there, fantasy owners.